Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerfherder Council.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, as well as the Facebook and YouTube pages of the Virtual Cantina Network. As always, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to click that like button, click that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. We are at these locations every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to get customizable Nerfherder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And if you would like to get Virtual Cantina Network swag, you can do so at tpublic.com/user/virtual cantina. Without further ado, let me bring on my esteemed co-host and my brother, AJ. How is it going, man? Good to see you. This is going to
be you too.
One, considering the fact that I am not overly familiar with the Clone Wars and all this stuff. So this is something that was very new to me. So this ought to be good, man. So what gave you the idea to do this? Because I've never made it through the Clone Wars. So
that alone was part of it, actually. You having not seen this stuff, I know you have been trying to backfill a little bit with these episodes, but knowing that you hadn't seen it before, I thought it'd be really interesting to get your take on this now that we've had Rebels and the Ahsoka series to kind of build out this whole Filoni narrative that we've got, this super fantasy side of Star Wars, where we get into, they who shall not be named and, Force Wolves and all the other craziness that took part in Rebels. But it all started here with the Mortis arc. So given that that's kind of hinted at the final scene of Ahsoka season 1, I thought it would be a fun time to look back at the trilogy of episodes in the Clone Wars here that started it all and see how you like it now that you've had the future chapters to this saga, so to speak, to kind of give context to what you're seeing in these episodes.
Sure.
So,
well, I will say right off the bat, obviously I recognized right away. I was like, okay, that's where Inquisitors come from. So
right,
that was a little obvious. Yeah, full disclosure for anybody who's not aware, I as I said a minute ago, I haven't made it through the Clone Wars yet. It's not that I dislike it, it just never grabbed me. So I've tried many times and I just can't grasp it. I think I got, let me think, close to 20 episodes in, and I did it in not season release order, like season 1, season 2, season 3, but I looked up how it would be if it was done chronologically. Ban somebody from the chat already. Horsehead, good to see me. It says the Mortis arc needs Purgle. No, it does not. Nothing needs Purgle. Nothing ever needs Purgle. You can just stop that right now, Horsehead.
Yeah,
there will be no Purgle love on this show. But yeah, I did it on the chronological thing because the one thing that always irked me about the Clone Wars is how it just jumps around. You're like, where the hell are we? And I liked how it was almost like mini movies, batches of 3 or 4 episodes. I thought that was always really cool, but the whole timeline thing was just really obnoxious. And so I got, like I said, about 20 episodes in, and it did not grab me. So I need to revisit it because I really like Bad Batch. And I will say, when you said this is like that weird Filoni-verse crap, I was a little trepidatious. And I have to admit, I kind of enjoyed this, and it makes me want to kind of go back and dig into the Clone Wars again and see if I can latch on to something. So it's definitely weird. It's definitely the word I used in the show description was expository. So, but I didn't mind it. I was expecting to not like it, to be completely honest, and I kind of enjoyed it. So, it's cool, man. Where do you stand on this one, just in general?
When it first came out, I was thinking, 'cause I think this is about when I started tuning in, because it was airing, every Saturday. It was like literally a Saturday morning cartoon on Cartoon Network, around this time frame, I think. And it was super weird, and I honestly wasn't quite on board with it when I first saw it, because, like you, Star Wars is out there, but you just kind of went with it as a kid and accepted it. And when you see it as an adult and they start pushing even further into the weirdness of it all, you're like, I don't know if I can really accept this or not. This is getting a little too out there for me. But upon rewatch, I think what I really would just call this, instead of the Mortis arc, I would call this, "Can we get off this fucking planet" trilogy.
Oh, that
7 or 8 times they've tried to go ahead and get the damn ship off the planet, and they're like, "Nope, we're not leaving yet. Never mind. Just kidding."
Yeah, I forgot to say that there might be bad language in our show, and the views of the Nerfherder Council don't necessarily represent those of the Virtual Cantina Network.
Like, I forgot that by the end of the first episode, they're like, "All right, we're leaving. Screw this place." And they managed to stay there for like 2 more episodes while they keep trying to get off the fucking planet.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
It's like repeated.
Mm-hmm.
And then and there doesn't seem to be, I don't think it feels as perilous as they meant it to. Obi-Wan gets stranded down in the well of the dark side, and it's like, Anakin comes back to the ship and he's like, "Yeah, I'm back." And she's like, "Okay, see ya." And she just grabs the scooter and off she goes, and he's like, "Ah, crap." And then of course by then Obi-Wan, apparently his gloves are mountain climber gloves, and he's most of the way out of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And she just zips down. They're like, "Okay, let's go." Okay. I'm like, well, that wasn't very dramatic. Like, what the hell was that? So
I remember the trial that Anakin had to do for the father of, is he or isn't he the chosen one? And he dominates basically through the Force, both the son and the daughter. And I'm like, I remember that being way more epic. He just kind of goes like, "Okay, yeah, both of you guys." He literally yells like, "On your knees," and like, that's it. It's like a 10-second thing, like barely an inconvenience. It was like no effort for him to do that whatsoever. I'm like, I remember that being a lot harder the first time I saw this. Like, was he even trying? It just was like so easy.
Put up a fight, damn it.
pretty cut and dry. Dude's the chosen one. All right, no drama there whatsoever.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, he sees everything. You're gonna be like Darth Vader." "Oh crap. Wipe your mind."
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was the weird thing was, though, the thing I remember about the whole like wipe your mind is that it like never happened, like none of it, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the case. The only thing that he had his mind wiped of was his visions of the future. But he and I think Ahsoka and Obi-Wan all remember being on that planet and meeting those creatures. I thought that when they got back to the normal universe that they were just like nothing ever happened.
You mean it got back to the normal universe? You mean their fever dream?
Right. Exactly. So I was like, wait a minute. So ever since these episodes, these characters have been walking around with this knowledge that these creatures were out there, these Force wielders, and just like, it's whatever. Let's keep fighting our war. We didn't have our entire worldview, blown by the fact that we just met these, physical embodiments of each side of the Force or anything.
Yeah. Well, again, it's it's all backstory, I suppose. Kale McLeish, good to see you, man. He says, "Look, there's different brands of the Clone Wars, and this one is more essential than others. You need this and the Wrong Jedi arc to really be on board with Ahsoka." I think you also
good points.
I think you also have to be on board with the fact that Star Wars doesn't always hit home runs to be on board with Ahsoka, but that's just me. Liberty Timmons, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Short episodes hurt some of the story. They had to get out of peril quickly because they don't have time to make it more complicated. Yeah, that's true. I mean that's a fair argument. I think
I
that's
did
a
get
fair
that
argument.
feeling. Yeah, I got the feeling like they had this grand story in mind, and the runtime just hindered it to where they're like, okay, we got to like crunch through this. We've got way more plot points to get on here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels like if they had, I don't think the solution would have been to give it a longer runtime. I think the solution would have been to just have less of the back and forth. Because like I said, there was like 6 or 7 times it felt like between the 3 episodes where they were like, all right, we're getting out of here, only to find out they weren't. Like, maybe you don't send them back to the ship, back to the Citadel, back to the ship so often, you know?
Yeah.
Have a few less encounters and give each one more time to breathe. I think that might have been more helpful.
Yeah.
Kind of dial up the stakes a little bit.
I liked it, but I think one of the other things that I thought of was what was the point of this? You know, did we need this? You know, I think this would have been better had it come, you know, before we knew what happened with Anakin Skywalker, like throughout the Clone War, like the prequels and stuff, because it's basically like, oh, you're the chosen one, you're gonna turn into Darth Vader. It's like, well, no shit, we know that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you know, this one, you're right. It did kind of suffer from knowing where the story was going, because they were trying to tell these like big world-shattering events, but when you already know that they don't shatter anything, and it's just flavoring for the story you already know, it's hard to have stakes. Like, oh, they killed Ahsoka. I'm pretty sure she's not dead.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have killed off like the brand new character introduced in the show midway through season 3.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's not even the end of the season, let alone the series. And they're like, yeah, she's dead.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
No. Yeah, it was like I said. I mean, all that notwithstanding, I thought it was interesting. You know, I don't know why Dave Filoni felt the need to do this. It was Horse said somehow Ahsoka returned.
Right.
Nice. The explanation for everything in Star Wars, it does not make sense. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of pointless, I guess, but it was interesting, I thought, and I was trying to gather the symbolism and like put it together, and I couldn't really get it because we already know there's dark and light. So
how do you feel about the concept that on whatever plane of existence Mortis exists, that there are, you know, physical embodiments, people can go there and interact with them? Okay, Spencer. Admiral, there'll be whales here. That was a great watch along, but wrong show, buddy. That was last Thursday. You're late. Also, where was my invitation? If you're gonna talk Trek, dude, come on now. Holla at your homeboy.
That's a great Star Trek movie. That's an incredible 3-movie run right there. Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and Voyage Home. Come on, that's, man, way
better than the trilogy we're talking about right now. I don't think that's too hot of a take.
Well, you know, we'll double dumbass on you. Yeah,
I love Italian,
and so do you. Yeah, I don't know that it serves a purpose. I guess I don't have a problem with it. I just wonder if it serves a purpose. That was the one thing. Like, it was confusing to me. It was like, why are we doing this? But I didn't not enjoy it. You know, it didn't take away from my enjoyment of it. I was just wondering, like, what are we doing here? Like, what's the point?
I feel like it's kind of like what Marvel's been trying to do lately with their movies, where they're kind of peeling back from the universe as we know it and kind of trying to say that there are larger forces influencing everything we know. So you got these force beings that are literally in a battle with each other, but they're supposed to remain in balance. And with the father gone, and then, you know, the son and the daughter are fighting and everything. And because he was saying, like, basically, you know, if any of us get out, like, the whole reason we're here is because we're too powerful to be in your universe. Yeah. So if we don't all stay together in this place, locked away from the universe, then your universe is just going to fall into absolute chaos. Like, either way, too much light, too much dark is wrong. And I do like that concept. Filoni's always been very big on that. This whole idea of like everything has to be in balance. And we love Qui-Gon for that reason. Qui-Gon knew that. That was his whole ethos, was you can't ever win against evil. You just have to keep it in check. And that's the eternal struggle, basically, is to keep it from getting too powerful, but never eliminate it entirely, because you can't have one side victorious over the other, or else everything falls apart.
Yeah.
My question to you is, by the end of this trilogy, all three of these characters are dead.
Yeah.
So is that balance?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a manifestation of the, where there's light, there's dark thing, because there's alive, light, there's dead, dark. So I guess you could look at it that way, I suppose. I guess the way to describe it for me was like eye candy. It was cool to look at. I like the animation in this one. There was some really cool stuff going on, I thought. I love the voices that they used, especially the father. I thought that was really cool. I mean, let's be honest. We got Liam Neeson and Pernilla August, so
yes,
that was amazing. That was amazing. But the rest of it was kind of like Dave Filoni stroking himself, like, "Hey, check this out. I'm explaining like light and dark to you because I know Star Wars." It's like, well, yeah, we already know that. Like we know this stuff. Like, what are you doing? So it's so weird, man. Like, I really enjoyed it, but I don't know what the hell we needed it for. So
it is funny. It is funny because Clone Wars, has those like different levels of quality, doesn't it? You've got the filler episodes where you're like, okay, can we just get back to the stuff that was already shown in the season trailer, please? And then you've got stuff like this where it's like way above and beyond. Like it's a high-minded concept with the battle of the light and the dark and this other plane of existence. And while we're at it, let's just get some voice actors from episode 1 to come in and reprise their roles. And I'm like, wow, man, how do you go all the way from Lowe's, like, the hunt for Zero to, something like this where it's like, oh yeah, we just got Liam Neeson to come in and do some new dialogue for us. No biggie. No big deal. Or, I think this is the same season, or maybe it's the next one, where they got Peter Mayhew in as like an animation consultant on a Chewbacca cameo that was in a few episodes. I'm like,
wait, you had Sam Witwer in here too.
Oh yeah. Wait. I mean, there's Sam's all over this whole series. He does awesome work.
Yeah. So it was cool.
I could listen to that guy do voices all day long. I don't know what it is about his voice, but that thing, it's just got so much, I hate to say character, but like,
yeah, well,
when he delivers a line, you're like, oh shit, I got chills.
Yeah. Well, and dude, he's like, how do I describe this? There's just so much, like I can't picture him doing anything but a dark side character, like a dark side force user, because there's so much hidden menace to his delivery. It's kind of like it's almost like the Emperor in Return of the Jedi. And now, young Jedi, you will die. Like, kind of that whole, there's always something worse lurking around the corner type of a feel, which is really, really cool. Kale McLeish chiming in here. Yep. Jeff Caffrey says Sam is always amazing. Totally agree. They've got to get him in live action somehow. Kale McLeish says Filoni just hasn't been too good at sticking with his own ethos in this regard. It seems to an extent they've all just moved on. Ahsoka and the daughter are one and the same now, given the transference at the end. Okay. And he mentioned
about that.
He did mention something up above, and this is an interesting question. Potential spoilers for Ahsoka. Does Mortis exist in the other galaxy? Because there's statues of father and son plus rubble of daughter in that ending. I noticed that, Kale, and I'm thinking so. Especially because they did the whole, well, we're at the rendezvous point, but I can't see you, you can't see me So
Mhm.
I'm thinking that that's the case, which is cool. I thought that was neat. I liked how those two things kind of came together. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and I I was kind of
If I had to
surprised when
theorize, sorry, if I had to theorize where Mortis exists, I don't think it's necessarily on. Oh, come on, it's not been that long since Ahsoka ended. Per Peridia.
Peridia, yes,
Um, yeah, I don't think it physically exists there. I think it may also just be like I said, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin came back from Mortis with memories of being there. So maybe the beings on Peridia also went there and came back and then built those statues in honor or homage to them or something. Or maybe it is a gateway to Mortis. Um, and that's what Balin Skull was looking at the end of the series. Or maybe that was the actual same citadel, and they were actually on Mortis by another name. I mean, it could be
yeah.
any of the above, really.
But what if they were doing that with Balin Skull, like, like that was the whole thing, and now he's gone. Like, damn it! Like
Yeah,
they were gonna,
new father.
yeah, exactly. Like, oh my god,
What's
it
going
would
on
suck.
about power? Like like you've never imagined, or I'm like, what the hell power could that be? And
Yeah,
governing both the light and dark side of the Force would be about the most powerful thing I could imagine.
yeah,
So that sounds like a very Balin kind of thing to look after. Be like, yeah,
yep.
the Jedi kind of suck. I think what I'm going to do is run the Force instead. I like that.
Yeah, I'm taking that side. Just I'm going for it. Like,
Yeah, it's dark side, light side. You know what? Both sounds good. I'll do both.
right. Yeah, one of the things that I thought was interesting is, and I've thought this about a few different things, but I think this one definitely kind of it really makes it clear that I think there are a lot of Luke Skywalker stories to be told, because I thought, as much as we may not have needed this, I thought this was a cool look into Anakin Skywalker's character. There's that torment and the push and pull, between the light and the dark and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is definitely something that they could do with Luke Skywalker between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Like, there's all these different things they could show, Luke getting into. And so in that respect, I thought it was pretty cool, because it did make me think, boy, is there a lot of cool stories that they could, get into because of this. So it would be interesting to see if they follow that up. And I mean, honestly, they could even have Mortis be a part of something that Luke finds, because it is that, other galaxy or whatever the hell it is, wherever Mortis is at. I mean, if it's in another galaxy, then maybe not, but it could be something that he discovers, where it's, this shrine to balance. So it'd be kind of cool to revisit something like this, but from Luke's perspective. So that would be interesting.
I think, especially with Dave Filoni telling the stories now, he clearly has like a larger view of everything, and just chooses when to tell certain aspects of his view of the entire universe. And you're right, like with all the stuff that they've gotten into in the Clone Wars era and with Anakin and whatnot, and now with Ahsoka in the sequel era, Luke does feel a little left out of that larger picture, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I know they've gotten into a few things in the comics, but not anything as visible as the animation or Disney Plus shows or the movies. So I think that, yeah, if you really want to elevate Luke to that level of saying like he's as important and on the same level as his father, then he needs to get into some of these larger, universal, multi-dimensional kind of aspects of the storytelling, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. Liberty Timmons is correcting us, which thank you for that, by the way. In the Mortis arc, the father says you need to return to your galaxy. So they weren't in the normal galaxy. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I forgot the specific line, so thank you. It says Mortis could be Peridia. And by the way, doesn't Peridia sound like something in your body? Like the roof of your mouth?
Right.
Like it's like, hey, I have to go to the dentist and have my Peridia checked.
Right, like damn it. I knew that cheese pizza was too hot. I burned my Peridia.
Burn my Peridia, exactly. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. So let me go back to my notes here real quick because I did have a few.
Are you okay with the sort of like I said, multi-dimensional storytelling, especially with Dave Filoni? We've got the world between worlds. We've got Mortis existing outside of the known Star Wars galaxy, which, you know, as was said, that could be Peridia at this point. So it might just be another galaxy in the same plane of existence, or it might be a different plane of existence entirely. We don't know. Especially because that planet was acting very funny. And Peridia didn't act like that. You know, the whole thing of like it goes through its entire. It's basically the Genesis planet from Star Trek. It went through like all the seasons in a day.
That's in my notes. I thought the same thing. Kale, we need to write that song. Burnt my Peridia. Oh my god. Yeah. I actually had that.
When you
written
slide
down.
off the bike seat and crack yourself on the frame, you know.
Ow! I bruised my Peridia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. The Peridia is just the technical term for the taint. That's all it is.
Nice.
That's all it is. Which would make sense. They would name that planet Peridia because it taint this galaxy, taint the other.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
The taint,
Anyway,
the Peridia is right next to the Bendu because they're both the one in the middle.
Right. I don't know. I think the Bendu's the a-hole, but that's a whole nother discussion. But anyways, before we fly too far off the rails here, yeah, the multi-dimensional storytelling. I hate the world between worlds. I've been very vocal about that. That's the whole, hey, look, it's time travel, and I do not like that concept. I think it opens too many dangerous doors, no pun intended, because of what it does. But I would say multi-dimensional I don't like. I mean, if you're going to say there are other galaxies, I'd be okay with that. So I don't mind that. So if this is in like, you know, like Peridia, you know, is in another galaxy, you know, and Mortis is in another galaxy, then yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. I just don't like the multi-dimensional thing. So that to me is just not something I want to delve into.
It is funny how epic Dave gets with his storytelling, isn't it? Like I caught like even in the Tom Kane intro, it's like an ancient Jedi code not used for over 2,000 years. Like,
Yeah.
Does it have to be 2,000 years?
Yeah.
Like it could be 200. That's still a really long time. But no, we've got Jedi distress codes going back for 2 millennia.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a bit extra, you know. Like, whoa, back it down.
He's just trying to purposely open other channels for storytelling. A distress signal that has not been heard in a bajillion years. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. There we go. Bring that one back.
So we've got a 2,000-year-old distress code, and then you go to Ahsoka, and we're going all the way outside our known galaxy to get to this other place. Like, geez, man, he really likes to take big swings. You talk about epic storytelling.
Yeah,
he takes Lord of the Rings and then like next levels it. He's like, elves living for centuries, big friggin' deal. Let me show you what I got.
Right. I just again to me it's surprising because while I don't think this is necessary, I did think it was cool. So I'm in such a weird place. Like, I guess I'm in the world between worlds with this one. Like, God, it's just strange to me because usually when something seems superfluous in Star Wars, I really want nothing to do with it. I'm like, I don't need this crap. You know, like I don't need all this stuff. I don't need this deep dive. It's dumb. And yet this one I didn't have a problem with. I think because I think this had a very unique tone to it. I really enjoyed, even though, there was like the whole light and dark thing. I think it was mostly dark to me. And obviously, the light side, the daughter dies. So that would make sense, obviously. So I'm being completely ridiculous here and saying something stupidly obvious. But there was just this, it was kind of creepy and ominous. And, it did feel kind of heavy. and I enjoyed that. So, you know, and I thought the ending of it was really cool, where, you know, the father was like, you know, he basically killed himself because, you know, he is the balance and he was the
I
power.
forgot about that. I
Yeah.
forgot about that until rewatching it. Like when he chose to kill himself instead of go after the son, I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
that's brilliant."
Yep. Well, and
That
then
is
of course,
absolutely brilliant.
then we have another Sam Witwer character who just dies like in seconds. So, you know, the dad kills himself, and the son's like, "Oh, why'd you do that?" And then Anakin's right behind him, and he gets almost basically see the son going, "Ah, shit." You know, kills him with the lightsaber.
Mhm.
So it's, you know, so there was that. I thought that was a little bit of an unceremonious ending, kind of anticlimactic, which unfortunately is a Davism. You know, we had this, and then we had the absolutely putrid Darth Maul Obi-Wan quote unquote duel in Rebels. So, you know, at
Yeah.
least you know what, we should research that. Who lived longer? Did the son in the Mortis arc live longer after the father killed himself, or did Maul live longer when he confronted Obi-Wan in Rebels? Because
Yeah.
they both
Well,
were dead in seconds.
right, and then the father gets to like hang on as long as he needs to have his little heart to heart with Anakin. Like,
Yes.
wow, that's But I mean, talk about like classic like Shakespearean storytelling. The whole like, oh, I choose to kill myself as the grandest display of righteousness and justice and so on and so forth. It was, I mean, it was a great storytelling device, but yeah, it was like Sam just like his characters are just they, well, unless it's Darth Maul. Well, if it is Darth Maul, you know, you can survive getting cut in half and turned into a giant spider, but you know, that one lightsaber blade. Sorry, man.
Well, and I don't know how it killed him anyway, because I mean, I don't remember the duel. I just remember like I never watched it again, because when I saw it in Rebels, I was like, this is one of the biggest hunks of crap I've ever laid eyes on in Star Wars. And you know, honestly, we could do a whole episode on that, because I have argued with so many people on that. Oh, it has so much meaning. There's so much depth to it. I'm like, no, it sucks. It's shit. Like, you build up to this giant duel and it lasts 10 goddamn seconds. You know what I want? If you're going to build up to a duel that's legendary, I don't want like context. I don't want, you know, some big deeper meaning. No, have them kick each other's ass with a lightsaber for 10 fucking minutes and have it be awesome. Okay? I'm not looking for the grapes of wrath. All right? I'm not. You know, I want to see basically a UFC fight. So, yeah. Anyhow, that's a whole nother episode. Remember, the views of the Nerfherder Council don't necessarily reflect those of the Virtual Cantina Network.
I have a feeling if Dave Filoni were to write like the Avengers Endgame battle, it would have just been like Avengers assemble, and then like Thor flies in and with Stormbreaker and just like beheads Thanos in like 1 second.
Yeah, Iron Man taps him on the shoulder and Thanos goes, "What?" And as he looks over, then Thor hits him with the hammer and he goes, "Ah, crap," and dies.
Yep.
End credits.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave very much likes the grand build up to like instant payoff. Like, you might want to let that breathe a little bit there, buddy.
I like to call it the grand build up to the nothing.
Yeah.
So that's again, it almost seems like he doesn't know how to end it properly. He does this huge build up and then can't figure out how to do a good payoff. So it's just like, just put a period at the end of the sentence. What the hell? Like, and what was it they said? It's basically like George Lucas in the script. He just they fight.
Yeah.
Like, there's no more detail, no more depth, just they fight. Like, oh, great.
Figure it out, you know, improv, do your acting thing.
Yeah. The one thing I thought was kind of, you know, back to the whole Mortis arc thing. The one thing that I thought was kind of interesting was, you know, how the brother kind of really mourns the sister. I thought that was a little bit out of place. I understand why he did that, because we know, like, you know, the dark side is impulsive and emotional and stuff like that. But it just kind of seemed a little bit like, okay, he killed her, like, yay. And then when he has to go back, you know, to her grave, He's like, "Oh God, I loved you." It's like, all right, well, I thought that could have been handled a little bit better, um, but it didn't really bother me. But it kind of stuck out a little. I was like, man, why are they doing this? So
That's actually one of the things that I liked about the way these characters were written, because to be archetypes like they were, you've got a very clearly evil guy over here. Sorry, camera's reversed. Over there.
nice.
And over here you got the light side. So like you got all bad and you got all good. And yet, the light side can be kind of a bitch sometimes. And the dark side could be, remorseful and empathetic. And it wasn't just I'm this one thing and you're this one thing. It was like there were still nuance to the characters, and I like that, because especially like if you take a character like Anakin Skywalker, where Darth Vader's there and Darth Vader's like the height of evil, but what do we like about it? It's nuanced evil. Like there's a reason for it. No villain is ever the bad guy in their own story. So it's like the son said when he was squabbling with the daughter at the beginning of the arc, and he's like, and he kills the father. He's like, what have you done? Be like, father was taking too long to die, so I just helped him along. Like, in his mind, he's like, it needed done. I didn't do it because I was like super pissed at the guy and just felt like committing murder. It was just a necessity because it had to happen. Sorry, I did a bad thing for a good reason.
Yeah. Gail McLeish, he says, Filoni needs to give characters the easy button. Kenobi fights Maul again, kills him immediately, slaps the button. That was easy.
Yeah, right?
That's very true. That's very true, man. So what did you not like about the Mortis arc? What was, because I know you are a huge fan of the Clone Wars. I mean, for those who have not watched the show a lot, you are a big fan of the Clone Wars. So
I'm trying to filter everything through the lens that this is a kid's show, and they were dealing with some very high-minded concepts, so they had to be very simplistic in their storytelling. But even by those standards, I thought, like, for how just straight up weird everything was on Mortis, I thought that Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan just kind of rolled with it way too easily. Like they step out of the ship and like the planets are literally changing seasons in front of them as they walk. And they're just like, that's kind of interesting. Whatever. If I saw that stuff going on, I would just be sitting in the ship like, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here.
I'd be like, wait a minute, am I on Pandora? What are these floating mountains all everywhere?
Yeah, that too. Yeah. We got floating mountains. We got changing seasons by the minute. We've got a very clearly evil guy who turns into a giant bat. We've got a very clearly like good woman who's also very snippy as hell. She was just as threatening at the beginning, actually.
Yeah.
For like, don't touch me. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Anakin just being a prick. Just reach eyes like, I'm touching you. I'm touching you. What are you gonna do? I'm touching you. I'm touching you like a little kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought some of that stuff, I thought they could have really like given more weight to the strangeness of the situation by having the main characters acknowledge how weird it was. But that was most of it for me. But again, I recognize how they had to simplify it and streamline it because they had so much stuff to get through. Like all their visions, for example, when they were, sleeping, like those alone are worthy of conversation. They should have gone to each other and be like, you will never believe the shit I saw. Oh my God, my mom showed up.
Yeah. And then she turned into a giant bat thing.
Right. And then, Ahsoka goes up to, no, was it Ahsoka? No, it was when Obi-Wan and Anakin, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka were sleeping because Anakin was with the father at the time. And yeah, one of them woke up from their dream turning into a nightmare or whatever. And they're just like, bad dream. Whatever. Anyway, what's going on with you?
Moving on.
Right.
Well, and it was the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was, like when Qui-Gon shows up and he talks to Obi-Wan and says, how are you here? And I thought it was kind of interesting because you don't find out till the end of episode 3 I'll teach you how to commune with Qui-Gon. It's like, and it was a total surprise. So I thought they could have done that differently, because it kind of was like, well, now why is he like shocked by this at the end of episode 3 if he already saw Qui-Gon, on Mortis? So I thought that maybe they could have something differently, but
because obviously it turns sour, just like Shmi showing up to Anakin. So
Yeah.
do you believe that was actually Qui-Gon?
Yeah, I do, because I don't think it turned sour. I mean, I thought he was just, telling the truth. He was like, "Hey, man, like this place could be, a disaster for Anakin because of all the crap going on." So, yeah, I mean, I think it was. I mean, I could be wrong, of course, but I mean, not that would be a departure from reality at all. But like, yeah, I thought it was him, and but again, when he was like, "What are you doing here? Like, how can you be here?" I was like, "Well, why is he reacting this way?" And then he completely acts surprised that, at the end of episode 3 as well. Like, what the hell is that? So
Yeah,
that was kind of interesting.
I used to reconcile that, because again, I thought that they had their minds erased from the entire experience. So now that I know that they didn't,
Yeah,
I'm led to believe that was not actually Qui-Gon, and that Obi-Wan dismissed it as manipulation by the son.
okay.
Because
right.
we got the grown-up version of Ahsoka as well, and I'll just credit that to artistic vision differences, because obviously Ahsoka at that age that we've seen now does not look anything like the vision that appeared on Mortis. But yeah, I think. Oh, breaking news on the Nerfherder Council. Spencer reporting in saying that the SAG strike is over. So we got writers and we've got actors back now, so we can get some new shit going. Finally. Awesome. I'll have to look that up later and see what all the details are.
Is it wrong that I have no idea what the hell that was about, and I feel like it didn't really affect anything? That was I think an unfortunate side effect. Was there's so much stuff to watch that people are like, "Oh, there's nothing new to watch." I'm like, no new projects are getting made. I'm like, "Oh no. Now I have to go back and sort through the billion gajillion hours of stuff I haven't watched on all the streaming services." Like,
well, you're not going to feel it yet, but all the stuff that would be coming out like next year, for example, that's all been disrupted. So that's why like Deadpool 3 got moved off its release date and everything else. Like they're scrambling to figure out what they can do for next year's releases, because this is the time when it would be being made.
Wait a minute. It affected Deadpool 3?
And yeah, they were halfway through filming and they had to stop it.
It says, Kale said it's not over. It's quote unquote tentative agreement. All right, now wait a minute. If this is affecting Deadpool 3, they need to fix this crap right now. Now it's personal. I want Deadpool 3. Fix your shit, Screen Actors Guild. Get your asses back to work.
Yeah, and you get filler stuff too. Like I don't think you've ever watched Ghosts on CBS or Paramount Plus, have you?
I have not. I know what it is, but
yeah, it's a funny sitcom. But it was supposed to be coming back for a new season, but because of the Writers and the Actors Guild strike, they don't have any new episodes done. So instead, we get Ghosts UK. We're going to get episodes of the original UK series that the US one was based on. Yeah, because they're like, well, we got to put something in this time slot. So it's that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a whole knock-on effect to all these things.
Well, and by the way, I'd like to clarify real quick. I was not like making fun of Deadpool a minute ago. Like I legitimately love Deadpool, so I really want Deadpool 3. So that was me being serious. But yeah. So back to the Mortis arc and things we did not like.
Yeah.
So this is going to sound really weird coming from me.
By the way, I know that's pure leaf tea, but I like to pretend it's a little tiny bottle of Jack Daniels. Actually,
no, I don't. Holy crap, would I be worthless at work tomorrow?
That's what I'm saying. Like, damn, Lush.
Because this is not a tiny bottle. If I was drinking what, like 12 ounces of Jack Daniels, good Lord.
Well, I mean, compared to a fifth. This is an actual beer, though. So there you go.
Oof. Yeah, no. Yeah, if I drank 12 ounces of Jack Daniels, I'd be like Homer Simpson with the postcard. Marge, you got a butt that won't quit. They got these big chewy pretzels here. $5. Get out of here. But yeah, one of the things that, and this is going to sound really weird coming from me, but one of the things that I can't say that I disliked it, but one of the things I would have changed is that I would have had less action in this arc. I kind of enjoyed I used the term earlier, the exposition. I liked the expository elements. I thought the dialogue was written well. The characters of the father and the son and the daughter were interesting. So, I mean, if you're going to have something that in a way is kind of pointless, I enjoyed them making it a little bit more of a dialogue driven thing as opposed to action. So I think I would have liked if they would have continued that more. Like, I mean, you can have a little bit of action. You got to do that because everybody wants some of that. But I just thought it would have been cooler. Like I thought the father was a killer character, man. Like I loved that guy. I thought it was really interesting. I loved his voice. Like I just thought it was really, really cool. So I would have liked more of that. So
yeah, you got the sense when they arrived on the planet that there were definite stakes involved. Like the first thing they do, of course, the Jedi draw their lightsabers and they instantly get shut down with just literally a hand wave. Like, oh yeah, crap.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Quick spoiler for episode 1 of season 1 of Loki for you. It's like when they reference the Infinity Stones and they're like, oh, we use them as paperweights.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. Okay. We're
Yeah.
dealing with something much more powerful here than I guess. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that now,
So, yeah.
now that
Do you think that the action to dialogue balance was more just a consequence of being written for a younger audience?
Okay. I don't think so. And here's why. I have never looked at the Clone Wars as a kid's show. I don't care what they say. I think it started out as a kid's show because season 1, which admittedly was crappy, it was, hey, look at the cute R2 and cute Jar Jar and cute C-3PO. And boy, it took a turn. And I think they really realized that, adults were getting into it and they had a lot of opportunity to tell some really cool stories that they could never tell otherwise. So I've never looked at it as a kid's show. So you could be right. And they might've been doing that because, they may say it was geared towards children, but I've just never seen it as such. So I think
the best way to write for kids is not to actually write for kids. You just write a generally good story that is told in a way that kids can understand.
Yeah. I honestly, I think the action is like, you kind of have to have it because if you're going to have something, I always go back to this example, and I don't know how many people have seen this movie, but Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. I love that movie, but holy crap, it's like 3 hours of nothing but dialogue. I mean, it's just people talking and sitting there talking, unless they're walking
with
around talking.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
It's the one where the main character gets a hole put in the back of his head at the end.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He hates the play so much that he, yeah.
Yeah. But it's good straight face work on our part. Yeah, it's very, I'm going to explain everything to you the whole time, but it's really good. So I wouldn't have minded if they had done that with this arc, because I think the visuals and the presentation was so interesting. I think you could have gotten away with it. And honestly, I think it would have enhanced it. Like I say, when, the brother is this, they're basically, the father is extinguishing. He just grabs the lightsaber and pushes it away. And, the son is like, oh, you got a lightsaber? I'm just going to extinguish it myself there. Like, okay, so what are you going to do? Like, but then all of a sudden, like, he gets run through with a lightsaber because he's too dumb to remember there's somebody behind him with a weapon. Like, I mean, it's kind of silly. So
Filoni does love the mystical blades, doesn't he? Like he invented the dark saber. He's got whatever this force dagger thing is on Mortis, and I just sure make up a new sword. That's what we do. The blade of Talzin.
He needs to stop that. Just cut that shit out.
Everything is a mystical sword.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like, and to me, it almost kind of feels like it's not nearly this extreme, but it kind of feels like the thing that we talk about, like with the sequel trilogy, where every damn movie they got to introduce like new characters. even in episode 9, where it's like the climax of the entire Skywalker saga. Well, here's Janna. Here's Admiral Pride. It's like, can you, here's Zori Bliss. Like, can you stop it? Just we don't need these people. Okay, we know this is the end of the entire damn saga, so we're not going to get much of anything out of these people ever again, if ever again. So just cut it out. I don't need these new assholes. Just give me the people that are already there, and let's finish this thing out. And Filoni bringing up new weapons and all this other stuff. It's like, like I said, it's not that bad, but like you said, mystical blade this and crazy blade this. Cut it out. Just let's pump the brakes here. So
yeah.
Kale. It says, so why don't combatants in a lightsaber duel just turn off the other dude's lightsaber? Because clearly it can be done, but they never go for it. They just go straight to crossing blades. I have never thought about that, Kale, but that's actually very interesting. That's how you win a lightsaber duel. You use the Force to turn to hit the off switch.
Right.
That's what you do.
Like mid-swing. Like you're coming in for your death blow and you deactivate their saber right as they're going to block it and be like, fooled you.
Right. Or it's like, it's I really hope my wife can't hear me, but it's like me when my wife's watching Netflix in the other room on the Roku, and I pull up the Roku remote on my phone and I just hit pause. And then I do it a few times. Finally, I hear, God damn it, the internet's messing up again. My show keeps pausing.
Oh, I've done that too. I love the Amazon remote app for that same thing.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, I love messing with people.
And that's you don't tell your opponent you're doing it. Just like get in stance, and all of a sudden their lightsaber goes. Oh, hold on, and then they're ready.
Right.
Like, all right, let's do it. Oh, hold on, just keep doing it.
I assume it's like a nut shot in UFC. They could, but it's just understood you don't. See, what you do is you aim for the Peridia.
Oh my God. Kale, it's his plot twist. This is the one episode she actually watches.
Right.
I don't know, man. She just started Scrubs. She's never watched Scrubs before, so I think she's trying to engross herself in a new show. So
I'll have to talk to her about that one. I love that show.
That's what I told her. I don't know if she's into it or not, but use the Force to turn the damn lightsaber. I like yours right in mid swing. You just stand there like, oh, you got a lightsaber? Ooh, he's like, oh, this is gonna be easy. And then he just swings off and it goes off like, and then you could also have like, because he's expecting to hit resistance, like he doesn't, like he just does this wild swing and stumbles like
yeah. Do it defensively too. Like someone's coming at you, just turn theirs off, watch them fall on their face, like totally face plant.
See, we could write Star Wars. Our Star Wars would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would be no new characters. There'd be a lot of humor. There'd be a shitload of Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. Liberty Timmons, you all have ruined Peridia for me. See, now every time you go to rewatch, yeah, he gets out his easy button, right? Oh my God!
Land your Peridia shot because of the lightsaber switch, and then get out the easy button.
Exactly. Liberty's gonna go back to rewatch Ahsoka, and they'll be like, "What is this? It's Peridia," and all it's gonna be going through their mind is a nut shot. Like, damn Nerfherder idiots! Like,
right?
I can't unsee this now. Oh my Lord! So yeah. So, anyways, we keep getting sidetracked, but we're both extremely sleep deprived. So.
Yeah, the thing I do like about this, as far as like you said, this ultimately doesn't matter. I think he was trying to hint that the imbalance that was taking place on Mortis, because it did skew towards the darkness, right? Was kind of a reflection of the worsening situation in the galaxy at large with the Clone Wars. And I like this idea that balance doesn't mean that they're always, perfectly evenly matched. Like it means that sometimes the darkness is over the light, sometimes the light is over the darkness, and it's always going to be teetering back and forth. Because even in this arc, you had one side got the upper hand, the other side got the upper hand, and back and forth we go. So I think it was more like a microcosm of hell, the entire Star Wars saga, really.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I thought so too. I thought it was. I mean, you could legitimately look at this arc and kind of see it as a metaphor, and maybe that's the point of it. And it just took us an hour to get there. We're like, oh, maybe Dave Filoni's smarter than we thought. Like,
Right.
Man, I mean, it could be because I actually had the same thought. I was like, this is basically just, to bring things full circle. And maybe that's why I thought it was a little bit pointless, was because I already know this, the balance. So to have to make like a 3-episode arc that's like, a metaphor for the balance in the Force. Like, okay, well, again, what's the point? I already know that there's balance to the Force. There needs to be balance to the Force, whatever. So, quick sidebar here. Kale McLeish asks, why are you sleep deprived? I know I was at least at Devin Townsend last night, closest to Dream Sonic I'll get, but what kept you up? Well, AJ worked a 15-hour day working the election yesterday here in town. He was being political. And I drove 2 hours to go one way, so I have 4-hour round trip to go see Wolfgang Van Halen and Nita Strauss down in Columbus. So I didn't get home till 1:30 in the morning, and then was back up at 6:30 in the morning, jumping on the computer, catching up on work. So yeah, a little tired. So yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. I kind of, what I wish we could get more of this. I really liked the character of the father. I wish there was a way to make him kind of like a recurring character. I know, I get that there's really not a way to do that, but I don't know what it was. I just thought he was really, really cool. So, I'm glad you suggested this, because I like I said at the outset of the show, I really went into it thinking that I was going to be like, this sucks, because when Dave Filoni tends to get weird, I'm like, what are you doing? It's, the Purgle we've gone over. They that shall not be named, excuse me, World Between Worlds, all this goofy crap. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he can't rein himself in. So when you said, oh, this is like the Filoni-verse, it's that weird Dave Filoni, I was like, oh boy, I was predisposed to thinking that I was going to hate this, and I didn't. I really enjoyed it.
I'm really pleasantly, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought you'd have a lot more negative to say about it too, but no, it also comes and goes very quickly. I sat down to rewatch it, and I just forgot how short the runtime is on these, and how quickly they just move along.
Yeah,
so 3 episodes, you're like, oh, I'm done in an hour.
Exactly,
barely a problem, right? Like, I sat down last night, like, okay, buckle up, we got to get into this, and then look down, I'm like, oh crap, it's not even dinner time yet. Okay.
Right. Well, and again, Disney Plus, holy crap, man, the credits. Because I looked at it, I was like, oh, these reach 27 minutes. God. No, they're like 21. Like, I would love to talk to somebody at Disney Plus and be like, why the F do you need all these credits? Like, what is going on? And all the damn foreign language crap. Like, do you need credits, for Zimbabwe? Like, what the hell is that shit? Like, why? It's it's like 1/3 of the runtime are the effing credits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell is that?
I still get duped by that. Every time I'm looking at something like, oh, are we getting near the end? It feels like it might be wrapping up soon. And I see like, oh no, it's got like 7 minutes left. No, that means you're like 30 seconds from credits.
Yeah, right. And the interesting thing is that in the time it takes to do credits for one of these shows, you could have like 17 or 18 Dave Filoni really important duels between major characters.
Mm-hmm.
So you would, you could basically have the entire Clone Wars if you just had battles between like Kit Fisto and, like some like main bad dude or something, like, because they'd each be over in about 30 seconds, if that. So
you know what? I created a TikTok channel for us, and there's nothing on it yet. I know it's all short form stuff. So what I should just do is post entire lightsaber duels between Dave Filoni characters. That'll give us at least like 34 seconds of content right there.
Maybe he was ahead of the curve, like, and he's a trailblazer. He saw TikTok coming, so he made stuff. Right. It should be awesome. He made it like 30 seconds, so he knew he made them all TikTok ready. No editing, no nothing. Just put up the Maul Obi-Wan duel, and you got a TikTok. Boom, there you go. It's for people like me that don't know what the hell they're doing. So
back when these were made, he's probably like, "Ooh, this will make a great Vine."
Yeah, right. Aaron Torres, good to see you, man. Good to see you. He says, I feel like I need to watch it now. I just didn't want to start something and not like it after the second one. Um, Torres, I mean, we'll talk more about this when I see you next. Again, I haven't gotten into the Clone Wars. It's not that I dislike it. The crappy part is, Torres, is that I've seen stuff in the later seasons of the show and I've really enjoyed it. But I'm trying to go back and start from the beginning and it's not grabbing me. So I'm basically forcing myself through about 2 seasons worth of stuff to get to things that I actually started to enjoy. I will say
Season 3 is where it finds its legs for sure.
Yeah. And I will say, Torres, that one of the good things about it is the new show that they have out called Bad Batch. There's 2 seasons that I think is excellent. Season 1's better than season 2, but so when you do get into Clone Wars, you do have Bad Batch to watch after that, which is pretty cool. So that's good. Gizmo, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Why can't Disney fix the order of the Clone Wars series? Because on StarWars.com, they released the order if you want to watch it chronologically. So rather than go in and, actually like release them that way, because they have to release it by season order and stuff like that, they just go, okay, well, here's how we released it back in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, whenever the hell it came out. And if you want to watch it in chronological order, we'll tell you exactly how to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I need to go back and look up that answer and see why it is that they did tell those stories out of order. I assume it's just a budgetary thing. Like they found which scripts they actually had the budget to produce, and then as budget increased and they built their library of digital assets to animate from, they were able to go back and do other storylines that just didn't fit at that point in time in the series.
It does just jump around like oddly.
It levels out after I think there's like 2 episodes in that start season 3 that should be at the beginning of season 1. And then after that, it's all chronological from that point on, which is another reason people say, just start at season 3. Don't worry about the first 2.
Yeah. The first 2 are kind of silly. That's especially that first season. That's a tough watch. I feel like you had to be like a pretty hardcore Star Wars fan to get through that. And
I mean, God, that movie that they, led the whole show with, like, it's amazing that this thing even survived.
That movie is bad. That's one thing, Torres. Don't watch the movie. The Clone Wars movie is just an interminable bag of shit. It is not good. It's really not good, man.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I that one will always fascinate me. I'm like, okay, so you're putting out a Star Wars movie, and it's like you're debuting animation, right? And that's what you come up with. We're gonna go rescue a Hutt child, and you've got Zero the Hutt in there. Like, what in God's name is that?
The only background I have on that is that it wasn't originally supposed to be a theatrical movie. It was just going to be the first story arc of the TV show. So it looked like a TV show with the exception of getting the actors from the movies to do their voices. So you get Sam Jackson as Mace Windu. You get Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
No. Is it Christopher
as
Lloyd?
Dooku? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that doesn't sound right.
No, wait. Yeah.
Christopher Lee.
Thank
Christopher
you.
Lloyd is
Yeah.
Doc Brown. Damn. Yeah. Like what? Huh? Yeah. So you got like
Annie!
big name actors doing their cartoon roles, but
I was Qui-Gon's master.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Thank you, Kale.
Now I want that. I want Christopher Lloyd as Count Dooku. I want to see how that comes out.
Someone do a deep fake of Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, but like he's freaking Dooku. I've been looking forward to this.
Amazing.
Oh my God. All right. Well, on that note, why don't we bring this episode to a close? But before we do, I believe you have some show news, and why don't you give the fine viewers here the Virtual Cantina Network upcoming schedule?
that I can do. Let me go ahead and call that up on the screen here. So for November 6th through the 12th, we are already into the 8th here on the Nerfherder Council tonight. So tomorrow night on the VCN Watch Along, it is Movies We Are Thankful For. I'm actually not sure if that's the title of what they're watching or if it's just another movie that they're thankful for, because last week it was Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, which love that movie. Fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah.
So that's going down. That's going down tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Then you got the Unifying Force coming up on Sunday, November 12th. That's 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. And they are talking about Ahsoka, the mythological and religious connections. So that's much deeper than we usually get into. So if you feel like thinking for a change, I don't know why you're listening to us in the first place, but you can watch them instead and actually, have some neurons firing there.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
The next time you'll be able to see us is actually the day before Thanksgiving. Our next time slot is Wednesday, November 22nd. JT, you are going to be playing a show that night, so you are not going to be available to do the podcast, correct?
Yep, I'm playing fake Rockstar that night, 2.5 hours from home in a little podunk town called St. Mary's, Ohio. So I will be out making money to spend on my stepkids for Christmas. So yeah, I will not be on the show. So what do you have going on?
Well, in the spirit of Thanksgiving and in the spirit of having been live on Saturday night with Joseph Wren, friend of show, drinking whiskey and doing show planning live on air, we decided, since we were doing a live stream about the canceled TV show Firefly from the early 2000s, that we would do a watch along of Serenity, the movie that caps it all off. So you can tune in for that at our usual time slot of 8 p.m. And as a bonus, being Thanksgiving, anyone who would like to appear on the show with us, go ahead and hit us up on our socials or our email, which is nerfherdercouncil@gmail.com. We'll get you in the show. I'll send you the invite link, and you can be on the show as well. We have slots for up to 10 total people, and we've got 2, maybe 3 right now. I know Cale McLeish has already said he was down for that. Just got to confirm. Which leaves 7 more available. So if you want to watch a movie along with us and be on the show, the more the merrier. Let's do it.
That's always a good time, man. I do on my music show, Talking Into Infinity. We do every year one of the last 2 Fridays, the Friday right before Christmas. In any case, we do what we call a fan hangout, and we do the same thing. Like we get viewers to come on and co-host with us and stuff, and it's a blast, man. People have a good time, and it's awesome to have other people on camera to kind of get their perspective on things. So that'll be a really good time. So yeah, like AJ said, if you guys want to co-host the Nerfherder Council that night, just hit us up on our socials or shoot us an email, nerfherdercouncil@gmail.com. So that'll do it for another episode of the Nerfherder Council. Don't forget, guys, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you'd like to get customizable Nerfherder Council swag, go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. If you would like to get virtual Cantina swag, you can do so at tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. AJ and I will be right back. I won't. AJ will be right back here in 2 weeks on Wednesday, November 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They are doing a watch along of Serenity, so make sure to check that out. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to click that like button, click that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. Please do the same for all the socials for the Virtual Cantina Network. So until next time, guys, I am your host, JT, at Dog Pound Jedi. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579.
And until next time, guys, we'll see you next time.